Hey everybody, this is Mark Zanoni coming to you from the snowy North Woods here, sitting here with my trusty Japanese Les Paul and just playing a little bit. You know, I've got a looper pedal here that I'm using here, so it is what it is here. I wish I had a band right now in the basement, but just wanted to hang out and get a little bit of a message out to you all. So yeah, we've started this little tutorial group here on Facebook, and you know, a couple things that I wanted to bring to the group and to talk about a little bit. I'd love to have this be a pretty much of a community. I think that's really important. We need to build a community, and part of community is going to be mutual self-support and encouragement. And we're going to need to have involvement. So the other thing too I'd ask is that everybody kind of reach out to friends, people you may know that are players, all those kinds of things, and bring them into the fold. So a little bit about me just really quickly and kind of where I want to go in terms of some of the things that I want to do. I've been playing in bands for about 40 years, so give or take. I'm primarily a guitar player, harmonica player, and singer. So these days I'm doing a lot more things on the rock, soul, and funk end of things. But both my wife, who's a bass player, and I have really cut our teeth in stone blues bands. So pretty much that was our thing. Still do some of that. Still, it's pretty deep in my heart. It's something that I really am passionate about. And I want to pass on the little bit that I know. I was mentored, and I talked about this in some of my my little videos. I was mentored by people who really cared, who knew what they were doing, and really cared that the music was perpetuated, that it stayed into the future. That they knew, first of all, that this was a thing that was passed down person to person more than anything. So one of the things that I would really love out of this group is some relationships here. I'm already having people that I'm talking to on the phone, answering questions, in terms of on Messenger and things like that. I'd love it to be much more of that. And then I know that there are people that are part of this that know a lot of stuff that can add to the discussion in a great way. And so I want to see that perpetuated. Kind of lastly then, Where am I going to go here? I've got some things that that over the years I've come to believe pretty firmly based on some experience, on some things that people have taught me. You know, I was lucky to have people in my bands that had a ton of experience who would say, you know, don't play that there, do that this way, change this, you know, next 12 bar, do something different, you know, play behind me and with me. And so through that mentorship, and then by sitting and watching people who could really do it, I picked up a lot of things that have really worked for me. So I'm going to pass that on. And I've mentioned in a couple of places that I have a couple of videos that I want to do. One of them is called The Evils of Bar Chords, and not to necessarily put bar chords down exactly, although you know, especially in blues, in the blues genre, especially playing with bands, there are places for bar chords and there are places where it really doesn't work. In a band setting, sometimes full bar chords, these big block chords that we all know and love, they sound really muddy. So over the years I've learned some things, learned some chords. Some of them are jazz voicings. In the loop that I had there, I was using some of those. Some of them are chords that have come from sort of like the Texas swing genre. People like Junior Barnard and some of the great players that did that kind of stuff were using some of these chords. A lot of jazz voicings, a lot of chord substitutions, a lot of pieces. So, you know, playing bar chords where you're only playing parts of those bar chords is one thing. Learning how to add in color notes, you know, not just the flatted dominant seventh, but 13s, 9s, all those sorts of things. The other place that I got a lot of chords from are some of the the chord voicings from are some of the jazz organ players, and of course Stevie Ray Vaughan borrowed pretty liberally from that. So I want to go into that in depth in a full video here soon, and talk from that standpoint. So that's going to be coming up really soon. You know, I've got some other things too that I've been answering a lot of questions about related to minor pentatonics, major pentatonics, mixolydian, and other modal things. How to learn how to apply modal sounds, how to get outside, you know, adding in that note that makes a blues scale versus a pentatonic, that flatted fifth, and how to use that in a creative way. Actually, in the solo I was just playing, I actually did pop outside at one point and actually purposely added that in there. So, you know, this ability to move and use all the different possibilities, the chord colors, and all of the passing tones in blues is critical. And I'm a big believer that building a really solid foundation in blues and jazz will make you a better player overall. The theory that applies there will make you a good musician. And when you go to play heavy metal, when you go to play other kinds of rock, you're going to have that basis and you're going to understand what you're doing, and you can add to that in order to make those other sounds work. I'm also going to talk a lot about instruments. I used to be pretty much of a straight into the guitar guy. I've got actually playing through my 70s Fender Vibrolux amp here right now, but I own a lot of other band amps. I've got modeling amps, and my main stage amp is a Mesa Lone Star. So I'll talk about those amps, why I use them, how they work in blues, and then I love dirt pedals in particular. So I have a fair number of distortion and overdrive pedals that I use for different color. I really have 3 on my board and a 4th that I always take with me when I go out to gig, just in case. So so there's that, and then questions. So what questions do you have? I'm going to post, actually in this video, I'm going to bring up an email address that you can reach me at with questions and information. It also would get you into a Google Drive folder that will have some other information. This past weekend I also put a document in there that has tips and hints for how to be successful at blues jams. So that's a way to go to learn, a place to go to learn, a place to go to meet other players, to experience what that whole vibe and that scene is all about. It really is a critical thing, and I'm a big advocate of it, but there's a way to approach those events that work, in my experience, and ways that absolutely don't, where you don't want to be that guy, because that guy is probably not going to get a lot of opportunities, and certainly isn't going to get asked to be in too many bands. You know, what is that all about? And so I want to sort of spread that out there. And then just, you know, what do you want to learn about? That's been really helpful to me as I've talked to people, even spent time talking to one of the group members over the phone this weekend. So I'm really excited to be doing this, and I hope you are too. And this really is an us thing, not just a me thing. I have a lot of strong opinions, and there are probably some of my strong opinions that are things that work for me, but maybe they don't work entirely for you. But I would love to hear what everybody is doing. So see you soon. I'll have the email address right down along here. Thanks, and talk to you all very, very soon. Keep on rocking.